So, tell me something terrible. I touched the button.
Oh, to record?
No, a nuclear one.
Oh, no.
Yep.
Which planet did you blow up?
Which planet? This is fucking Star Wars.
Pluto.
Yeah, because Pluto, they actually in Star Wars, that's the planet they talk about the most is Pluto.
Yeah, not Tatooine or anything like that.
No, it's Pluto.
Definitely. That's why we had to get rid of it as a planet. They were like, nah, we can't associate with you anymore. You're part of the Republic. Go away.
Tatooine, that's actually what planet Keegan's on now. He's a tattoo artist.
Yeah, I got it.
Yeah, I know you got it, hence the snarky laugh. I didn't know if the people that might hear this if I don't cut it all out. Anyway, let's leave it in and you can start the podcast now.
All right. Hi, I'm Tiffany.
Hi, I'm Scott.
And you're listening to Tell Me Something Terrible.
I was like, we don't do like an every other thing here.
No, you don't
just
want to do
it.
Okay.
You gotta excuse us. We just did the all the video clips for the YouTube intro video thing that just went live.
Yep.
So we're not we're not back in the podcast groove yet.
No.
We've had to like look into cameras and shit and not just look at each other or me hide behind this giant computer monitor and poke my head out occasionally. You okay over there?
Yeah, I'm trying to remember why I wrote that name down on the other notes from last episode.
Is it the picture? Satchel?
Yep.
Yeah.
Okay. Because he was actually like not terrible.
No, he was ridiculous. Anyway,
Yeah.
don't live in the past.
I got distracted.
We're on episode 26.
We are.
It's a big deal.
Number 26 is our golden number.
That's our team number.
It is.
For a little tiny team of 3.
Yep. So,
Do you want to explain that or just let it go?
you
26?
I think we've mentioned that before.
Have we?
I don't know, maybe.
Was this their first listen?
First listen.
Yep. I'm not going to give any details so you don't, know all of our dates. But my birthday's on the 26th of a month.
We got
Our
married
anniversary's
on
on the 26th of a month. And our daughter's birthday's on the 26th of a month.
I'm for sure I think we mentioned this in the last one because we talked about the 22nd.
I'm not going to go, I just wanted to briefly mention it.
Okay.
You never know when people are going to jump on the train here.
I think episode number 26 will be their
I don't know.
episode.
What if it's one person's? Anyway, now everyone knows.
Yes.
Maybe twice. I don't know.
I think it's twice.
All right. I'm going to take a long sip of this beer, try not to burp into the mic, and then
Okay.
let's get after it.
All right. So, since it's Gemini season,
Like the roller coaster?
No, like the
That's a Midwest reference
astrological-
for all you cedar pointers.
No, like the
You think the roller
astrological
coaster's still
sign.
there?
I don't know. It's wooden.
All right.
Yeah. We should go back. We haven't been to Cedar Point in
Yeah,
a literal decade.
perhaps.
My 22nd birthday.
Was that what it was? Mm-hmm. I remember going. I don't remember.
Yeah,
what it
Mom
was for.
got us tickets for it.
Yeah. Mm-hmm. All right.
Yep.
Back to your thing. Astrological?
Astrological.
Heavy emphasis on the ass.
So,
I'm big into this stuff. I mean, let's do it.
let's do
Oh
it.
my God.
So there are a lot of Gemini killers. Serial killers.
I have seen that graphic that goes around.
Yeah, that has like the list of like all the ones.
Is this where you're going to tell everyone we're both Geminis?
We are both Geminis.
Which is why it's hogwash because we could not be different people.
Yeah. What?
What?
So, some of them are like Sam Little, who's killed like dozens and dozens of people. Like he's admitted to upwards to like 90 people.
Sam Little? Mm-hmm. I don't know
I'm
if
pretty
I've ever
sure
heard
he's
that
the
name.
serial killer who will draw photos of people that he's killed. And then, what was that?
I was playing with a bobby pin over here, and it decided I was done playing with it, and it shot, and I don't know where. I have no idea where it's at anymore. It went from my hand to nowhere on this table.
Oh, shit. It could be anywhere. This is a huge ass room.
If it's lodged into the computer, we'll know shortly.
Yeah, yes.
All right, Sam Little next.
Yep. And then there's Kenneth Bianchi, who's one of the
I've heard of him.
the Hillside Stranglers. Yep. Okay. Jeffrey Dahmer. Everybody knows Jeffrey Dahmer.
I'd hope so.
David Berkowitz, who is the son of Sam.
Son of Sam.
Yep. And then Richard Chase. And I know I have told you about him. He's the vampire of Sacramento.
Okay.
He's the guy who thought that his blood was getting turned to powder and he was drinking rabbits, and then he went on a full schizoid.
He's a real dick.
Yeah. Yes. He went on a full schizoid break and
It's
wound
like
up
the
murdering.
lowest any Richard joke. I mean, come on now.
But he wound up murdering like a woman and drinking like her blood out of a yogurt cup. Yeah, it's that guy.
What? I don't remember the yogurt cup detail.
Oh, well, maybe we can do an episode.
Sponsored by YoPlate.
Maybe we'll do an episode on Richard Chase.
Or not.
Yeah, or not. So those are a few. There's a bunch of them. So today we're going to cover Robert Lee Yates, a.k.a. the Spokane Serial Killer, which...
Spokane. Hold on. Spokane. South of here.
Nope.
Spokane?
It's in Washington. Pacific Northwest. Like Washington. Spokane, Washington.
It could still be south. I don't know.
I'm sure there's probably more than one Spokane.
How it curves.
Yep.
I thought Spokane was like in like Oklahoma.
No.
I'm so good at geography.
Yep.
It's disgusting.
We're all in this boat together.
Yeah.
It's because we have 50 states.
If we were on a boat, we'd be doomed because we didn't know which direction to go. Yeah.
No. Well, and everybody's like, Americans don't know geology. Look.
Geography.
All right. Geography.
Geology's the rock one.
Yes. So
you know more about rocks than you do state capitals.
I do. Bear in mind, there are more
What kind of
states.
bear? A black bear?
Yes.
Okay.
Black bear in mind that there are more states in the United States than there are like countries in Europe. So fuck off, all right? Like we got a lot to memorize for just our one country.
For every Liechtenstein, there's a Rhode Island. That saying goes back forever.
Oh, yeah, it does. So I
I
recognize
don't actually
the
know
name.
if Liechtenstein's a real country or like a joke country.
Isn't Liechtenstein like the Princess
No,
Diaries?
I have no idea. I think I was thinking Luxembourg. Is that a real place?
Yes, Luxembourg is definitely a real place.
Yeah. Liechtenstein sounds like a bar mitzvah
No,
thing.
it's from the one with Heath Ledger.
Huh?
And Chaucer.
Oh, The Knight's Tale?
Yes, that's where it's from.
Yeah.
Look
and
at
then
us.
the next time you see that guy, the Chaucer guy, he's in
Angels and Demons?
Angels
Nope.
and Demons. Yeah, and he's putting
No,
that
not Angels and Demons. Da Vinci Code.
Da Vinci Code, yeah.
Yeah, whipping himself.
Yeah, and then he becomes, what's his face, with the jewel in his head? Vision.
Look at us. Look
Marvel.
at us nailing our pop culture
7 degrees
references.
of we don't know that guy's name.
No.
Let's play a game.
It's 6 degrees of Kevin Bacon.
If you ever wonder what happens when we sit down to watch a Netflix, like something on Netflix, this is what happens, and then we just watch comedy. Because we're like, I don't even know who the... Anyway.
It's bad.
Yep. And we usually do that after this, where we're already all mushy-brained anyway.
Yes, we are. So I've like vaguely recognized the
All right,
name,
hold
but
on.
I
What's
don't
the-
know much about him.
Robert Lee Yates.
Robert Lee Yates.
Look at me and remember. Okay.
Proud of you.
Yep, we're back on track.
Okay. So his MO is
Murder.
terrible. It's bad. Like
Okay.
very distinct. So according to Thought Catalog, it's unsurprising that there seems to be quite the handful of Gemini serial killers. We tend to be less grounded. We are changeable, which I think the word they're looking for was adaptable. We are attention seekers. We have superiority complexes, have trouble forming deep relationships, can lead double lives, making it easy to transition from like a normal life to the serial killing life. Geminis tend to be egocentric, like a lot of serial killers, in particular the ones that think that they are smart enough to defend themselves or outsmart detectives. And Geminis have a tendency to act out.
Okay.
None of those ringing a bell?
I was going to say, I don't want to seek attention, but we literally have a podcast, so...
Yeah, with
But it freaks me out when I realize people listen to it.
especially people you know.
Right? Yeah. You haven't had people, like... You haven't been across... You haven't looked over at work and had people listening to you in their ears.
No, because Murphy was like, I'm going to lay down and and like, you know, you can rub on my face. And I was like, okay. She's like, is it okay if I put on your podcast? And I was like, nah. I nipped that right in the bud. So we listened to Harry Potter instead.
There you go.
Yep.
Always a fallback.
So this episode's killer was born May 27th. So close. 1952. Yep. And he lived in Spokane, Washington.
Which is in the Pacific Northwest.
Pacific
in case
Northwest.
You
Yep.
didn't know.
So which is not south of Michigan.
And not the Pacific Northwest, which is what I tried to say.
Pacific.
Yep.
So
English so hard.
yes. So Yates was active in 1975, 1988, and between 1996 and 1998.
Hopefully he wasn't a family annihilator.
No.
I just wanted to make a annihilate joke, and then it like sounded
Fell
like
flat.
I had a speech impediment when I said it, and I was like, oh. I could cut this out, but you guys need to know my struggle.
Yeah, not every joke's a winner. So
Nope.
his estimated number of victims is between 16 to 18 plus. And the plus is
Why is
because...
it always 16 to 18 plus?
Because-
Just say at least 16. I hate the way they always give you ranges.
Well, it's because
just at least 16
it's complicated. At least 16, yes. But they're like, it's 16 to 18. They could never pin him for the first two murders that happened in 1975. They just assume what he's telling the truth. And then Germany is actually concerned that he may be linked to several missing women there.
This is like the
while he
modern
was
day Jack the Ripper.
Yeah.
Traveling across the pond, potentially.
Yep. So he was in Germany. He was stationed in Germany as a helicopter pilot during the Cold War. And there's women that have gone missing during that time that they think could be linked to him.
Okay.
So he was a father of 5 children and a family man, which Yates would use this fact to quell the fears of sex workers he would pick up along Spokane's Skid Row, which was on Sprague Street.
Which is Murphy's dog's nickname.
Yeah, yes.
Okay.
And then he would later brutally murder them.
I kind of saw that one coming, yep.
Yeah, so the first couple to fall victim to Yates were Susan Savage and Patrick Oliver. The couple, and they're not sex workers. They were just people out enjoying a picnic.
I figured it wasn't a couple of sex workers.
Nope, this was back in 1975. So they were enjoying a picnic by Mills Creek near Walla Walla, which is where Yates went to college and then dropped out. Yates was target shooting and decided he needed something a little more challenging. So he shot Patrick in the head 3 times first, and then he shot Susan.
You can go hunting for not humans.
You can.
Mm-hmm. Especially there. Like, that's good hunting country, I'd imagine.
It's literally all woods. So he buried them on my Midwest slipped out real hard. So he buried them under a pile of brush, and their bodies were discovered within only a few days. The family had no clue who or why for 25 years, and then when Yates was finally caught, he confessed to their murders.
Okay.
Yep. So in 1988, Yates started to flesh out his MO. Stacy Elizabeth Hahn, a 23-year-old from Seattle, was the first of the sex workers that Yates murdered. So this kind of started his pattern of attacking the, like, quote-unquote less dead, the people that live sort of like on the fringe, and police spend like less time investigating because, they live a high-risk lifestyle.
Essentially easier prey.
Yeah. If you look at it very darkly. So she was murdered in July of 1988 and wasn't found for another 5 months. She was shot in the head. And at first, detectives believed that she was a victim of the Green River Killer, but Yates later confessed to her murder as well.
Have you heard of the Green River Killer?
Yes.
Okay, I haven't. I assumed you had.
Yeah, he's another guy who's very similar, where he's targeting sex workers, except everybody was kind of like left in the middle of nowhere naked. I can't remember his body count. I guess it doesn't really matter. The guy's a douche. So then there was like a nearly decade-long cool-off period. The first victim found and attributed to the possibility of a serial killer was Jennifer Johnson. Nope, just kidding. It was not Johnson. Oh, shit. Joseph. I fucked that up multiple times. It's Jennifer Joseph. She was only 16 years old, and she was found on August 26th, 1997.
Okay.
And
That's
she was
super young. Was she a sex worker?
Yes.
And she was 16?
Yes.
Jeez.
Yeah.
Sucks.
A lot of the other women were like, they ranged anywhere between like, I think the oldest was in her 50s.
You really are telling me something terrible this time.
Yeah, it's rough. I have names, I have details. You're going to hate every second of it.
You have all 16 plus names?
Yes.
Okay, good. Buckle in, folks. Grab another beer.
Yes. So she was found in an advanced state of decomposition in a secluded spot on the corner of like 2 roads out in the boonies.
Okay.
She had been shot at close blank range in the chest.
Point blank?
Point blank. Yes, point blank range in the chest. Her DNA was found in his douchey white Corvette. And that would be the start of Robert Lee Yates' undoing. A second victim...
His douchey white Corvette.
Yeah, he drove a douchey white Corvette. His second victim, named Heather...
He definitely has a denim jacket. If it's the mid-90s and he has a white Corvette.
For sure. Yeah. But he doesn't have a mustache.
No? A little mullet? A little curl? A little perm?
No, just like your typical like sandy short hair. No, he's in the military.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. He served in the military for like almost 20 years. He was a pilot. And then he was out and then spent like a year off and then decided he wanted to do like commercial piloting. Doesn't matter. He's a prick. Who gives a shit?
There you go.
So a second victim named Heather Hernandez was found.
Again, another alliteration.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
JJ's, HH.
They're not all like that. Oh, God. There's another one. Oh, fuck. Nope, nope, not all of them. Sorry, I was like looking through the names real quick, like, oh no, are they all alliterations? They're not.
He's checking IDs before he murders them. What was your name? And what about your last name?
So she was found with a gunshot to the head as well. And she was left along in a park. I believe this was a parking lot. Yes, she was found in a parking lot that had a visible trail of blood that led from one corner to where her body was found, implying that she was murdered elsewhere and then brought to the location and dragged. Yes. A year prior to finding these women, the first victim of Robert Yates was discovered on June 14th, 1996. Her name was Shannon Zielinski. And there was no sign of a struggle, no blood pooling, no bullet casing. Police determined that she was also shot elsewhere and dumped near the intersection of two country roads. Shannon was the first victim of Yates's 3-year killing spree. They just didn't realize that she was connected to
until after the
a serial killer. Yeah. And so from here, the body count grew and his MO became more distinguishable. Darla Sue Scott was found on November 8th, 1997. She was found by a passerby walking his dog near Hangman Valley Road with gunshots and 2 plastic bags wrapped around her head.
Okay.
Yep.
Seems a little excessive.
Yep. Yates' DNA was found on her body in the form of semen.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Cool.
So rape
Sex
and
crimes
murder.
now.
Yes. So next was Melinda Mercer. It's another alliteration for you. On December 7th, 1997, there were 4 plastic bags and multiple shots to the head, and she was found in Tacoma, Washington.
Tacoma, I've actually heard of.
Mm-hmm. And then Sean L. Johnson was found on December 8th with 2 plastic bags covering her head and 2 gunshots near where Darla Scott was found on Hangman Valley Road.
Okay.
Semen was collected.
Unfortunately named road.
Yes, a very unfortunate name road. So semen was collected that matched Yates' DNA. December 26th, both Laurel Wason and Sean McClanahan were found together in a gravel pit near Hangman Valley Road. Starting to get a dump site. Both with plastic bags wrapped around their heads.
The day after Christmas?
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So both were found with plastic bags around their heads, both with gunshot wounds. Semen was found on both women, also matching Yates.
Okay.
Yep, along with a fingerprint on one of the bags that matched Yates' fingerprints as well. Yeah, he's just leaving.
Are the cops looking for him at this point?
Yes.
Okay.
They just didn't have DNA to compare.
Okay.
So they're just like...
all right, so they know they're looking for someone, they don't know who they're looking for.
Yes. So they have all this DNA, they have all of this evidence.
They know it's the same guy.
They're like starting to figure out it's a serial killer. At first they thought it was the Green River Killer, and then they were like, nah, the Green River Killer always leaves naked women. And then he starts developing this MO with the plastic bags and the gunshots to the head.
Yeah.
And most of the women are not fully naked. Most of them have at least some sort of clothing on, which is different than the...
Green River.
Yes.
Okay.
And then, along with the thumbprint and the semen DNA and all this other stuff, they'd also found debris, concrete, and foreign plant matter that didn't grow in that pit. So, like hydrangeas, birch, maple leaves, rose, grapes, honey locust, forsythia, blueberry, burberry, mums. I fucking can't ever say that word.
Chrysanthemums?
Mums. Dried feathers, peanut shells, concrete pieces, paint chips, and a nursery tag that read Sweet William. Soil and rocks. Sounds a lot like our backyard, right?
Yeah. Also, fun fact, I went to school with the William Suite.
We did!
Sorry.
Oop. Bumped the mic. I got real excited there.
Ooh, we did!
Ooh, we did! So then Sunny Oster was found next on February of 1998. She was found in a wooded area. Her head was wrapped in plastic bags and gunshot wounds to the head. And, of course, his semen.
Yep.
Yep, in
Developing
April.
a bit of a pattern.
Yeah, just a little bit. And at this point, like, it's the late 90s. Bruh, you got to know, like, 1% about DNA, right?
You would think. But I mean,
Yeah.
I guess if you left it at 1, you're like, well, they don't have my DNA, so.
Yeah, well, and they always they say that like sometimes killers just like they start to get lazy and they want to get caught.
Yeah, or they think they'll never get caught.
Mm-hmm.
So,
Yeah, like what was Ted Bundy's quote? Like,
I don't remember.
I don't know, something about a crowbar.
Oh, yeah, that
Yep.
narrows it down. Mm-hmm. Is that where the murders meet?
At a crowbar.
Yeah. That might be my worst joke ever.
It might be. It was real bad.
I kind of want to stand up and take a bow, but I don't want to get up.
And no one can see it. You'll probably just bump the table and the mic will fall over and everything will get ruined.
I mean, I'm bouncing and messing around enough, which we have found out is not good for the video medium.
No, it
the
is
fact
not.
that I just like
In a constant
constantly
state
twitch.
of movement. Yeah. So in April, Linda Mabin was found only 50 yards from where Laurel and Sean was found in that gravel pit, along with the signature bags, gunshot wounds,
They
semen.
have to be patrolling this area at this point, right?
Yeah, they're
Like where is he finding?
this task force is like on top of it. Where like usually, especially in the late 90s, they were like, nah, sex workers, whatever, who gives a shit. Like the task force for these cases, they seemed like from all the articles that I read, they were not fucking around. They were like, no, we're gonna get this guy.
Okay.
Because they knew eventually, like every single time that they found a body, they're like, fuck, he's gonna do it again. And we're like, really
You would just
trying.
think that they would have surveillance constantly in
They,
that area.
they did have an
Yeah.
undercover cop. It's just the problem is that if you have all of this DNA and you have no one to match it to, you're never going to find
Unless you
this
catch them in
person.
the act.
Yes.
Like the literal warm body just dropped off.
Yes.
Yeah.
So Linda was found in the same gravel pit as Laurel and Sean, and she was also found with the same odd smattering of like debris and stuff on her body as well.
Okay.
And then Michaelin Durning was found by a transient in the area that's frequented by sex workers in Spokane on July 7th, 1998. So our Spokane serial killer was getting more competent. Instead of just dropping them in the middle of nowhere, hoping that someone will kind of find them,
Yeah.
he now are leaving bodies close to where
He picks
sex
them up.
workers,
Yeah.
are frequenting.
I mean, it's just a lot of hassle to go that far out of your way.
Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah.
it's part of the process, So instead of disposing their bodies, like I said, miles away, he started dumping his victims closer to where the women worked, along busier roads. So Michaelin was at least spared being raped. They couldn't find any of his semen DNA anywhere on her. And then Connie Ellis was found October 13th, 1998, in a ditch in Tacoma. So that is like our second victim from Tacoma. And then again, also with 3 plastic bags and a single gunshot to the head. Many women had disappeared like weeks to months before being found.
Can you imagine needing Ziploc bags and have to go to the store and pick them up and people just look at you
These are grocery store bags.
oh, thank you for shopping.
Yeah, thank you for shopping. Yeah,
Oh, okay.
bags. Yeah, they're just this.
Little anywhere, get them. Yeah.
Yep. So that's why no one was ever sus because it was just grocery store bags.
Yeah. Yeah. You can't everyone's just asking for paper. Nobody wants plastic right now. I'll just carry it. That's fine.
Yeah, I don't need a bag ever.
This is
Never
actually
again.
where reusable bags came from. Nobody wanted the plastic bags anymore.
Nope, that's exactly right.
Yep.
So many women had disappeared weeks to months before being found, even though Yates had made attempts to leave his victims in only barely concealed with some brush in heavy areas of traffic. So even though he was dropping them off in the middle of nowhere, he was doing it as crossroads or in a gravel pit where somebody an employee is going to find them. He wanted his victims to get found,
Yeah.
but not super quickly. And since they were all sex workers, it was really easy for them to slip through the cracks unnoticed. I think,
Yeah, not missing person reports going out right away.
yes, and there was definitely someone who was missing for over close to 2 years or possibly 2 years before they had even found her.
Okay.
Yeah. So Yates also had a tendency to remove any identification, like purses and IDs were always missing. One victim had her lower dentures removed because her name was engraved on them. The women.
That's weird.
Yes.
How would he know that?
I don't know. All I know is that she was an older, I can't remember which one she was. She was the older sex worker in her 50s. And, yeah.
Almost came out you would imagine.
Yeah, I would imagine during a struggle.
Or with a gunshot wound to the face.
Yeah, that is true. And of course, like you can ID people through like their teeth. Like some of these people had to be ID'd through teeth. Yeah. And then Jennifer Joseph was actually ID'd through her parents' DNA.
Oh, okay.
Mm-hmm. So Yates had a tendency to remove, like I said, I just started my whole paragraph all over again because I'm not using my anxiety pen. So his MO was specific. The bodies were rarely found completely nude, almost always had plastic bags wrapped around their heads, always had semen left on the bodies, always had bullet wounds in their heads, and were all found to come from those bullets were all found to come from a .25 caliber semi-automatic pistol that detectives were able to trace back to a specific store in the area, like the rounds.
Okay.
And after extensive interviews from the sex workers in the area, they were able to determine when the victims were seen last, with who, and in what car John was driving, which in his case, Yates's case, was like either a dark van, a white Corvette, or a silver Honda Civic. And what the women were wearing on the nights that they disappeared, which allowed the police to determine what clothes were missing once they found the bodies that could have been kept as potential trophies from the serial killer.
Okay. Makes sense.
Yep. So the task force appointed to tracking down the Spokane serial killer seemed to be like as on top of this investigation as they possibly could be.
Yeah.
And eventually they came across two key witnesses. Survivors.
Oh, okay.
Yes.
Those are good witnesses.
Yes.
Yeah.
So there were two women. I was
waiting for you to be like gun salesmen from the local gun shop.
Nope. There were two women who were fortunate enough to survive an encounter with Robert Yates, both giving eyewitness accounts with their interactions with him in police interviews. Their names were Christine Smith and Jennifer Robinson. So Christine was solicited by Yates for oral sex after agreeing on a fee. She had gotten into his black 1970s van with a bed in the back.
Classy.
Yes. Christine made a joke that asking that, like, he isn't the psycho killer, is he?
Mm-hmm.
Yep. And Yates said, nah, he's a family man with 5 kids. He would totally not do anything like murder people and rape them.
At this point, probably with a dozen, people at his hands.
Yeah, she was late in the, I can't remember. I don't know. I didn't write down a date when he picked her up. Doesn't matter. So Yates said no, and so she started on his services. But Yates couldn't get it up. So after about 5 minutes or so of getting nowhere, Christine feels this. She's giving him head. If that gives you some context.
Yeah, you already made that pretty clear.
Did I mention the oral sex thing?
Yeah, you did.
Oh, I did. Yes, I did. That's fine. I'm really good at trying to be professional, and then I've had enough to be like, all professionalism and delicacy is gone.
We are not a professional, informative podcast.
Yeah, but when you're talking about real delicate things this.
You're good. Yeah.
Yeah, I try to be respectful, and then every once in a while the ghetto slips out. I grew up in a trailer park, guys. I don't know what you want from me. So out of nowhere, Christine feels this sharp pain on the left side of her head, and Yates starts yelling at her to give him his money back. She manages to flee the van, bleeding, disoriented, and on the edge of consciousness. Christine makes it to a nearby building where the security guard takes her to the hospital. She's stitched back up, closing a nearly half-inch wound near her left ear, slightly above.
Okay.
She filed a report with the police, and she couldn't give an exact identification, but her description, the sandy hair, no facial hair, pockmarked scars, along with the evidence and other eyewitnesses, the task force became convinced that Yates was their man.
Okay. So they already kind of had narrowed down, and he was one of the potential suspects at that point?
They'd been interviewing a lot of other sex workers in the area, and they're like, this is what the guy looks like, this is what he's driving.
Yeah.
Christine later found out during a different hospital visit from a car accident that there were bullet fragments embedded in her head. So they stitched it up because she thought she got hit by something really hard.
Yeah.
And then she finds out months later during a different surgery from a car accident that those were actually bullet fragments. There were bullet fragments in her head, and she was shot.
But not directly.
But grazed.
At an
yeah,
angle?
he had the gun while she was on her knees and shot her, and she managed to run away out of his car and go get help and stayed conscious, and then reported it to the police.
Huh.
She's a badass.
Yeah, and it obviously didn't go through her. You had to hit it at the right angle. Yes. Yeah, that's crazy.
And so, like I said, she thought that she'd just been hit, and that's what she told the police. Like, I felt like a really sharp pain. I think he just hit me really hard. And then they found the bullet fragments in the hospital, and they were like, nah, bro, you got shot. So,
Nah, bro. That's what the doctor actually said.
Exactly like that.
Nah, bro, you got shot.
So she called the police after finding out that she'd actually been shot and was like, hey, I thought he hit me, but turns out he shot me. So they were able to use those bullet fragments from her head as evidence. So Yates was pulled over in his white Corvette after picking up Jennifer Robinson. He told the officer that he was sent out by Jennifer's father, an old coworker of his, to find his daughter and bring her back home. So the night finished without any murders. Jennifer lived. Mm-hmm. The task force was handed the incident report from the police officer that had pulled Yates over that night and decided to bring Yates in for an interview.
Okay.
Because that white Corvette.
Yep.
So Yates willingly came to the interview. He was told at first that he was not a suspect and that he could willingly leave whenever he pleased. The detectives asked him about the night that he was pulled over with Jennifer. He stuck to his story. And they told him that he should just stop lying because it's real easy to debunk his story.
Yeah.
They were like, it's real common. We hear it all the time for people that pick up sex workers. Like, nah, I'm just picking them up and taking her back home to her dad. Like, that's like the stereotypical
that's the
lie.
go-to?
Yeah.
Okay.
And so they're like, we know you're lying, bruh.
Yeah.
And of course, they debunked it. After he left, they made a phone call to Jennifer after the interview, and she was like, nah, he's definitely lying.
Yeah.
So they also asked about his white Corvette. Yates conveniently sold it to a friend recently. It wasn't a friend, it was a stranger.
Yeah.
And they asked if he had any other cars, and he's like, nah, just a Civic. Never mentioned the van. Mm-hmm. They asked for a blood sample. He said that he was going to think about it, confer with his wife, and he just left. And later he called the detectives back after his interview to inform him of the decision not to give a blood sample.
Shocking.
Yeah, so they were like, guys, this might be it. So they decided to look for the white Corvette and any other vehicles that he owned or drove for work. Mm-hmm. And of course they found them.
Yep.
The white Corvette, the van that he forgot to mention, they ran searches and did forensic testing. Yates had told the new owner that he had replaced the carpet in his Corvette that year. And it turns out that he'd actually replaced it twice.
Imagine that.
Mm-hmm. Not very well, though, because they still found...
the first time he probably did it well. And the second time he was like, I can do it myself.
Yep. So they still found a ton of blood. Yep, on the seat, under the seat, on the seatbelt, all of it matched the parental DNA of Jennifer Joseph. And they also found her missing button from the blouse that she was wearing underneath the car.
Okay.
Like underneath the seat. Mm-hmm. So then they also searched the van, and the task force found more blood stains and a spent cartridge from that same .25 caliber pistol.
Semi-automatic pistol.
Yep. That he used to kill all of his victims.
So he was really terrible at cleaning his car too, because just don't look under the seats.
It got like wedged, this was like wedged like above the windshield, like because he's clearly, with all the amount of blood that's inside of these cars, he's clearly shooting them inside the car. So it was like one that like ricocheted off of somebody and lodged itself above the windshield.
Okay.
I think now that I say that, I'm like, shit, I should probably go back to my paper.
No. Say it confidently enough. We're all going to believe you.
Yep. If go on murderpedia.com if you really want to know the nitty gritties and print off like 22 pages of information.
Yep.
Had a lot to go through. So on April 18th, 2000, Robert Yates was finally arrested for the murder of Jennifer Joseph because that was like the most evidence that they had.
In my mind, I'm like, that's not that long ago. And I'm like, it might be like 21 years ago.
It is. But it was in our lifetime. Like, we were in middle school?
I was almost 12.
Yeah. I was definitely in like 6th grade. Mm-hmm. I'm pretty sure. So it's.
You were almost 11.
Math. It's complicated. So it's
pretty straightforward.
Nah.
Astrology, that clicks with you. Math, no, that's complicated.
Nah, astrology is like fun to like look at, and you're like, I guess, and then
you need to take more chances, and you'll totally make it big today. That's my horoscope.
It's everybody's horoscope.
Okay, keep going.
So he was finally arrested for the murder of Jennifer because that's who they had the most DNA and evidence for.
Yep.
The task force got their blood sample that they needed.
Most importantly, are you going to eat that chocolate over there?
I mean, no, I've got this cheese I'd rather have.
Okay. I just need to snack a bite.
Okay. Are you going to ruffle it in front of the mic? Like I did last
I'm going to
time?
ruffle it next
Under the
to
table?
the mic. It's so loud.
So they got his DNA
we really
match.
need to open the chocolate before we start a podcast.
We really do.
I'm done, guys. I'm sorry. I apologize for all that.
So his DNA matched the DNA found in the semen on all of his victims. They searched his house and all that foreign plant debris, the hydrangeas and all that stuff, were all in his backyard.
His landscaping.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Yep. And then his wife totally threw him under the bus. Hard.
The bus she drives because she has 5 kids.
Yeah. Yes. So she told the detectives.
It's probably her black van with the bed in the back covered in random blood and jizz. And she's like, bruh, we need that. I can't cram all these kids in the goddamn Civic.
So it's funny that you mentioned the van. Because she told detectives about the night that he left to take one of his daughters to her job. He left at like 11 o'clock and didn't get home until 6:30 a.m. And wound up, he had blood all over the back of the van. And he said that he hit a dog and took it to the vets.
In reverse?
No, he said the dog jumped out in front of him. He hit it. And then he put it inside of the back of the van to take it to the vets. And that's why there was blood everywhere.
Oh.
So he cleaned all of it out and just threw the carpet away. Yeah. She was like, guys, my husband's crazy.
Yeah.
So realizing that there was an insurmountable amount of evidence against him, Yates decided to strike a deal. He would plead guilty to 13 counts of first-degree murder and 1 account of attempted murder.
For a deal?
Yes.
Okay.
Along with, because there was so much
Did they take
evidence.
the death penalty off the table or something?
They did.
Okay.
Yep. So he was also going to tell the police where another victim named Melody Murfin.
MM?
Yep. Really like those alliterations. Who had been missing since May of 1988. So they literally had arrested him in April of 2000. And he's like, I got another victim. I'll tell you where her body is. And she'd been missing since May of 1998.
I've been found since May of 1988, by the way.
You've been what?
I've been here. Not here.
Alive.
Alive, yeah.
Yes. So this was all in exchange to take the death sentence off the table.
Yeah.
Yep. Yates drew a map of his backyard where he had buried Melody. So the detectives...
God.
It gets worse. So
Is it under the hydrangeas?
So the detectives searched for
That's literally
hours.
like the only flower name I know out of all the 47 you listed earlier.
So they searched for hours, finding her body 8 inches under the ground in a flower bed right outside of Yates's bedroom window.
Oh, that's creepy.
Yeah, she was like a foot from the foundation of the house.
Did they end up finding like a bunch of the clothes or anything, like his trophies?
It was never mentioned in any of the articles.
No, he just had that one as like a little shrine outside his window.
Yep.
That's disgusting.
Yep. And so Yates was sentenced to 408 years in prison by Spokane County.
408. Okay.
Yeah. Well, to be conserved consecutively, just to make sure that like he will not
So like
under any
2408,
circumstance.
he's up for parole.
Mm-hmm.
Cool.
So his court hearing, amidst all of these boos and hisses, this piece of shit says.
You said booze and hisses, and I thought you said booze, like alcohol. I was like, booze. Oh, booze and...
I mean, like, after this, I'm sure people were like, give me a shot, guys.
Right,
I need to get this out of my head. They need to give counseling to, like, jurors. Could you imagine getting subpoenaed, and then this is the court case you're in, and you're like, holy fuck,
You're
guys.
getting paid like $4 an hour to be there.
Yeah. So...
I just biffed the mic, too. Or even.
So during his court hearing... he said, I've taken away the love, the compassion, and the tenderness of your loved ones, and left in that place grief and bitterness. In my struggle to overcome my guilt and shame, I have turned to God. I hope God will replace your sorrow with peace.
Was that before or after he killed all these people?
This was after. This is
okay.
at his sentencing.
I didn't know
they
if he
were
was
like,
trying to justify killing sex workers by...
No.
Okay.
Nope. He just was trying to pull at the heartstrings of people and thinking that like maybe if I mention God, they won't be so mad.
Maybe they'll take 390 years off my sentence.
Yeah, no, he's a piece of shit. But don't worry, there is some good news. In October of 2002, he was sentenced to death in Tacoma for the murders of Melinda and Connie.
Oh, so they got him on the other two?
They did. Yep, because
I was really kind of hoping you'd say he got like stabbed to death in prison.
Nah, he's still alive. But he's sitting on death row in Washington State Penitentiary.
For the last 20 years?
Mm-hmm. It takes a long time to kill
How long
somebody.
is death row?
It takes a long... Because they got to go through all the appeals and stuff like that.
Them.
Yeah. Seriously, how many people did he murder? And that's just in the United States. They don't even know if he actually murdered anybody in Germany. They have no evidence.
I'm not a big eye for an eye guy, but like...
At some point,
maybe
like
some
the
plastic
scales...
bags?
Yeah. Yeah.
I
Like,
mean,
we're just going to leave these here for you. You do with them with what
maybe
you
let
will.
the bullet fragment chick, see if she wants to do it.
Yeah. Yeah, just 15 bags and be like, tie it
She
real
probably
tight.
has like no empathy left or anything up there if she got half shot in the head.
Yeah. She's probably looking to see what she's doing in her life. Probably can't find any information.
So
but-
what you do, look her up on Facebook?
Yeah. No, she's alive, and that's all that really matters.
Right.
So, and she played a huge role in putting this guy away. So,
Yeah.
good for her.
This is what he gets for driving a douchey white Camaro.
Corvette, worse. Ugh. Yeah.
Sorry.
Because your eye roll. I'm pretty sure people could hear that eye roll.
Could they?
Yeah.
Yeah, it's because I don't have anything. I don't know what I just.
Anyway,
I just picked something off a chord that probably was important, but that's
oh
fine.
shit. So my sources are Thought Catalog, Wikipedia, and Murderpedia.
Does the Thought Catalog come every month, or is that?
No, it's like one of those stupid BuzzFeed type things. I just thought it was a fun list. Just something for you to roll your eyes at.
Well, I just wanted to make a bad Thought Catalog joke. Anyway.
It's actually like that drawer in, is it Bruce Almighty? Where they like open it with the one with...
I've never seen Bruce Almighty. Like all of it. I've seen clips of it. I get the premise.
Where's Morgan Freeman and he opens a filing cabinet and it just shoots him across this big white empty warehouse room? No? Okay.
Okay.
All right.
This is when Jamie's going to tweet, how have you not seen Bruce Almighty?
Guys, we're going to have to take a weekend off. We're going to take a whole week of not podcasting just so Scott can watch all the dumb movies from the 90s and 2000s that he never got to see.
Yep. Because
And then
I
we'll
remember the
report
day
back.
we got a VCR. And I remember like all 12 movies we had. And that was it. Like we didn't have cable. How do you watch movies? You don't have cable. I mean, I went to the library and rented movies. But I was a kid. Like I couldn't rent anything.
Normal people go to Blockbuster to rent things. Or Denny's if you're from around here.
If you go to the library, it was a diller. And you keep for a week. Way better
yeah,
than
but they weren't
Blockbuster.
like new releases.
No, they had new releases. New releases you could only keep for like 2 days. Anyway, nobody cares.
That's how it was like with regular rentals too.
Yeah. But Blockbuster was like a 20-minute drive and the library was like a 5.
We went to Denny's video up the
yeah.
road.
Anyway, now you're just going to Napoleon historical documents.
Yep.
Anywho,
Which I rented that suite.
at one point, yeah. Just let everyone know right where we are.
Yes.
Creepy.
Yes.
Anyway, if you made it this far, congratulations.
Yes.
This was episode 26, which to 99% of people is like whatever, a completely obscure number, but to us, it's, an important-ish number. So feel free to
Rate, review, and subscribe on iTunes.
Yeah. Follow us on the social media stuff. And you can find us on YouTube now.
We have one video, guys.
We do. But the more important video, in my opinion, only because I'm putting more time into it, the Eloise video, I'm going to say that it's going to be done this weekend.
Oh, yeah?
Yeah.
Godspeed.
Yep.
We're going to the zoo on Sunday. How are you going to squeeze that into your schedule?
Oh, shoot.
After all this, you're like, shucks.
All right. We'll figure it out. I'm going to finish it tomorrow night.
Totally.
After golf. Yeah. Anyway, thanks for listening.
Okay, thanks,
We'll
guys.
see you guys next time.
Bye.
Bye.
Thanks for listening to our terrible podcast. You can find us on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and Google Podcasts, or wherever you like to listen. Feel free to follow us on Twitter at TMSTPod.
And if you'd like to support the show, you can find us on Patreon at Tell Me Something Terrible.
Oof, that was terrible.